Sure enjoyed Alabama's first two wins in the men's tournament and what we saw from the women's team over the weekend.
Yeah, it's been a joy to watch some high-level basketball from Alabama. You know, the men getting it done. On to the Sweet 16 once again, the fourth time in fifth season in 5 years. So it's a phenomenal run that Nate Oates has this team on, and they look poised to continue their path to another Final Four. And the women's side, listen, hats off to Christy Curry and that squad. I mean, they were absolutely a joy to watch. They fought to the last end against that game against Maryland and Sarah Ashley Barker with an epic performance. That was one for the memory books for sure.
It really was. And we'll start with the women's basketball team. I got the round one victory against Green Bay on Saturday. And then that game on Monday against Maryland, as you mentioned, it was a thriller going down to the wire, not just in regulation, first overtime, second overtime as well. If you can, put in perspective what Sarah Ashley Barker did with a school record 45 points and then hitting those three free throws when she had to send the game to second overtime.
Well, she had us all on the edge of our seats watching that game. That was the performance that you want to see of a player who clearly loves her school, loves her team, and wants to go down fighting to the last moment. I mean, playing and staying in that game and with an opportunity to win in regulation was so thrilling. But then the battle with the foul outs of the game with Zay Green and Aaliyah Nye for her to put the team on her back and everyone else to pick up their level of play to push that game to double overtime, three clutch free throws with, I believe, point 0.7 to go on the clock. I mean, that is just unbelievable focus. And for her to be able to knock those down after being 50% from the free throw line in the game, clutch moments. I mean, memorable moments. I mean, to me, I mean, she's definitely etched herself as one of the top players ever in the history of the program that I've been able to see. But that was a performance from that team and from that staff that I think we'll never forget. I mean, you want to move on to the Sweet 16, but they left it all out there on the court.
They certainly did. Again, a great performance by Alabama throughout this season. It's going to be really tough to say goodbye to this senior class. So when you look at Zay Green, Sarah Ashley Barker, as well as Aaliyah Nye, and just from your perspective, seeing how Christy Curry has elevated this program. It used to be just happy to get to the win NCAA tournament, happy to be in the upper half of the SEC. But do you like the fact that the expectation level has now changed for this fan base with this program?
Oh, I love it. I love it because, I was at school at a time when Alabama women's basketball, they gave a strong effort, but did not obviously have the results that they would like to have. And it's taken some time for Christy Curry to get this program to where it's at a high level nationally. But the ascend to this level has been a lot of fun to watch. You know, ever since I've retired and been back on the call for a lot of the women's games, it's been so much fun to watch the names of the players grow in their positions on the team. You talk about Brittany Davis and Megan Abrams and Hannah Barber with that first crew when I started calling the games, and then with Aaliyah Nah and Sarah Ashley Barker coming over in a role player position and then elevate themselves into stars. And then you add Zay Green and Essence Cody into it, and they have a bona fide team that's a really good team in the SEC and nationally respected. I think people have to remember Christy Curry has been to a national championship game. She's done it before. She's a proven coach, and she's proven it once again with this team. And it's not just about getting the wins. They do it the right way. They have a style that is fun to watch. It's creative from an offensive and defensive standpoint and aesthetically pleasing. So they've done a phenomenal job. And for me, who's been an Alabama women's basketball supporter for a long time, I think that it's a joy to watch where they are right now. And I think they can go to the next level.
Yeah, heartbreaking end on Monday to the season for Alabama women's basketball. But Richard, the season not over yet for men's basketball. We don't know what the final chapter will look like for this year's version of the Crimson Tide. What'd you like about the round one win against Robert Morris and then what we saw on Sunday against St. Mary's?
Well, the grit that they had. I mean, obviously, when you're a two seed, you're going to get everybody's best punch. And in the first game, obviously, against Robert Morris, it had some challenges, but were able to pick it up. The interior play, I think, is going to be important for Alabama moving forward. Clifford Amori has been utilized well in those screen roll actions, utilizing them with the pick and roll and alley oop threats up top. And Grant Nelson having the toughness to come out in the second half to get it done in that opening game and then playing really good basketball in the second round against St. Mary's. It shows that this team seems to be focused. If they can hit shots from the outside like they did last game, Chris Youngblood, Holloway, Mark Sears starting to get back into it. And this is a team that I believe can beat anyone in the tournament. But you have to be able to guard for 40 minutes. You have to take every single possession as is his last, because this is the type of mental focus that you had to have in tournament play. It's win or go home, and you have to be locked in. And that's not just from the players, that's from the coaching staff as well. Everyone has to be locked in for the entire game to make any adjustment that's needed to be in a do or die situation. And they've shown that so far in the first two games.
How important was it to get Grant Nelson back on the floor for those critical minutes against Robert Morris at a time when Alabama is either tied or trailing in that ball game? But did that help him too for the St. Mary's game, just knocking off the rust in that first game?
I think it's huge. For me, I think he's the key to this team getting it done. I mean, we've seen in his career at Alabama that when he plays big in big games and Alabama comes up with big time wins, when you get to the Sweet 16, there are only quality teams left. And you have to have a player who can make a difference on both ends of the court. He has the ability to switch defensively on the perimeter and slide his feet. He can rim protect. He can be a matchup problem in the low post with a smaller defender on him. And if he's knocking down threes from the outside, that opens up things for this offense to really flourish, because he's not really respected from the 3-point line. So it's a bonus when you can get those shots to fall. And it opens things up for him where he can get into his drive game and finish at the rim in transition. So it's not just what he can do. It's what can Alabama produce from that power forward position. It's Grant Nelson, it's Jaron Stevenson, it's Mo Diabate. Those three guys bringing their A game on both ends of the court will be huge for Alabama if they're going to get back to the Final Four and beyond.
It's got to start with the Sweet 16 coming up on Thursday night in Newark, Alabama against BYU. What have you learned so far about this Cougar basketball team?
Well, the team's got really good shooters. Richie Saunders can shoot it quickly. He comes down in transition, similar to like Alabama does. He can get it up and get it up quickly with a high efficiency. So I think this is a game that plays into the hands of what Alabama likes to play. Teams that go up tempo like to shoot it early in the shot clock, play at a pace that Alabama wants to play and score a lot of points. When they play against the teams that can slow down the tempo, that's been the recipe that give Alabama some problems. I don't know if BYU can implement that type of game plan because they like to score and can shoot and get up and down. So this might be a matchup that plays into the favor of Alabama. But at the same time, you can never underestimate any opponent. You never look ahead. You always play the man in front of you for every single play and every possession. And that's the attitude that Alabama has to have in this game, to dominate every single possession and expect it to be a long game that you have to earn the win.
Again, the Crimson Tide players, coaching staff focused on the game right in front of them. For fans, they may be thinking ahead just a little bit towards Saturday and a possible Elite Eight matchup with either the Arizona Wildcats or the Duke Blue Devils, Duke being the number one seed. We've talked before, Richard, about Alabama's defense so far this year. How would you see a potential matchup, again, potential, if Alabama has to go up against Duke and Cooper Flag?
Well, potentially, I do think that Alabama is matched well against them. I mean, you have positional size all around, and this is a team that has great defensive positional size in Duke with Mala Watch down low at 7-footer who can protect the rim, Cooper Flag at 6'9", 6'10", who's agile all around the court, and they're well coached with John Shire. So this is a team that has a complete team. They can play multiple styles. They can outscore you. They can also grind it out and beat you with their defensive abilities. But Alabama has the personnel and the experience, I think, to match well against Duke. You also have to look at the Final Four as a game, or the Elite Eight game is a game within the game. It's a goal within the goal. You have one day to prepare on a short turnaround where you did not know who your opponent is until you saw who won their Sweet 16 game. So having a style in which that you know that you're going to play and be comfortable is something that I believe can benefit Alabama. They're going to get out and run. They're going to play a tough defense if they can, and they're going to try to score quickly in the shot clock and outscore you. So getting the rhythm after a Sweet 16 game in the same venue can hopefully and potentially give them momentum against whoever their opponent is, may it be Arizona or Duke, to move forward and to get to another Final Four. But listen, never overlook the components you have. BYU is first. Don't overlook them. And Arizona may get the upset on the other side against Duke.
They certainly might. Seven SEC teams making it to the Sweet 16. Any surprise for you with that? Any great storylines you feel like from the rest of the conference through the first two rounds?
The Arkansas Razorbacks. I mean, Coach John Calipari has done a phenomenal job of rallying the troops. This is a team that I had early in the season when they were 0-5, and I thought they were dead. I mean, just it was just no life in that gym in Bud Walton. The players seem to be a little bit disconnected, not understanding their role, but somehow, some way, they have figured it out. They're not really good at shooting team, but athletically, they can step toe to toe with anyone in the conference. And they've been able to have the matchups that they needed in the first and second rounds. And that's big time matchups. Arkansas beat Kansas in the opener with Bill Self, Hall of Fame coach, and then you bounce back and beat the 2 seed in St. John's and Rick Pitino. So they're starting to have some momentum, and confidence is the most important thing that you need at this point of the year. You're not going to have a lot of time to gain it through practice. You're just doing a lot of shoot arounds and going over the film and the matchups and what every team is going to do as far as adjustments on the court. So the big thing that you want to have is how confident are you going into the matchup that you're going to have, and hopefully that can give you some life when you're playing tough. And Arkansas has been the team in the SEC that seems to be the most confident at the moment.
You certainly do. And getting ready for an all SEC matchup as well in the Sweet 16. What do you make of Tennessee against Kentucky? The Wildcats defeated the Vols twice in the regular season, and it's the old cliche, can't beat a team 3 times in the year. A lot of times we don't see it play out in the NCAA tournament like this, but a huge rivalry matchup between the Vols and the Cats.
Listen, it doesn't get any better than that. You get a chance to play big rivalry game between those two schools, and you're playing to go to the Elite Eight, and Tennessee has lost 2 times. I mean, I do think that you would think the psychological advantage is going to be with the Volunteers. You can't let a team beat you 3 times. But Kentucky, when they're able to move the ball around offensively and spread you out, that is the key to make them use that offense against Tennessee's pressure defense. Tennessee is going to do a great job of trying to limit your possessions, slowing down the tempos. Zakai Ziegler does a great job of running the show. They can squeeze you defensively. But when Kentucky's hitting shots, and if they've been hitting them like they'd hit in the last 2 outings against Tennessee, then listen, the Wildcats can get it done for the 3rd time. But that's going to be a matchup that I believe both teams will have to be dialed in. Kentucky can't view it as the time to play them for the 3rd time. You have to view it as this is the time we're going to play them for the first time to go to the Elite Eight. And this time it's for all the marbles.
Then rounding out our SEC discussion, any concern through the first 2 rounds for Auburn or Florida or the path they have ahead towards the Final Four?
Well, both of those teams being number 1 seeds, when I looked at the draw in the bracket, I didn't particularly think that they had an easy march to the Final Four. Florida, the team that everyone is picking to win the national championship and has been playing really well throughout the SEC tournament and quite frankly all season, I think they had a tough draw. I think even in the first round against Norfolk State, last round against the defending 2-time national champions, UConn, they had to earn it. It took Walter Clayton Jr. to hit some big shots down the stretch to be able to come up with the win. And it's not going to get any easier for them as they move forward in this tournament. Auburn, on the flip side, I think has been limping a little bit coming down the stretch. They lost 3 out of the last 4 after wrapping up the SEC regular season. Janai Broome has been dominant all season long, but in the last game against a really good big against Ryan Kalkbrenner at Creighton, he was able to guard him one-on-one. And when you're able to guard him one-on-one and limit your rotations and not have the double team to come over, which allows Auburn to get easy looks from the outside, then it makes them a little bit easier and a little bit more of a beatable team. I think they'll have that same challenge against Michigan in the next round. Vlad Golden, another 7-footer, transferred over from FAU, will be a big-time defender and a big body that can lean on Broome, as well as Danny Wolf, who's a 7-foot guard. I mean, so Michigan has the physicality to match with Auburn. It's just going to be a matter if Auburn's guards can carry them. I think Chad Baker-Mazara, Kelly, the Miles Kelly, they're tremendous, and Todd Pettiford are really good guards, but they're going to have to really carry the show on this one because I think the big men are going to be something that can potentially neutralize Broome and his impact from being so dominant.
It'll be fun to see how many teams make it to the Final Four. We certainly hope the Crimson Tide part of the mix. And Richard Hendricks, you're the most popular podcast guest in all of college basketball right now. We hope to have you back on the show next week if Alabama makes it to the Final Four. But thank you for the time you've given us once again here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Roll Tide, sir.
Thank you so much. Enjoyed it. Roll Tide.